Hello neighbor, Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner. I am live with you again tonight for the second half of what was actually our March in-person card class. I'm so glad that you're here with me. Last week we made these two cards featuring the Faith collection. This one really cute shaker card, which to be honest, I wish I had put a few more shaker bits inside of. And this card here, which sparkles if you hold it just right. Can you see that little bit of sparkle? Tonight we are going to make two cards featuring the Umbrella Days stamp set and die bundle. So that's this one right here. I just noticed that that is a really shiny spot. Hopefully that doesn't bother you, that little shiny spot. If it's annoying, let me know and I'll try to, well, maybe I can, I don't know. I'm not sure how to redirect that light. And it's hard for me to see when I look up at it. Well, hopefully that won't bother you. So tonight we are going to make these two cute cards with the Umbrella Days stamp and die bundle. And I have a couple of stamping tricks to show you. But just so you know, I don't know how much I will be live again in April. I'm going to try to do more videos, but I'm having surgery tomorrow and I'm not sure yet what the results of that will be, like what the recovery will look like. So if I am here, I will be so happy to be here with you. Just know that ahead of time. Let's start with this card right here that says, "The storm will end and the sun will shine again." If you order from me, this is for our March card class. So if you order this week by Saturday, if you place a $35 order, then I will send you the all of that you need to make 4 cards, okay? It will be these 2 umbrella cards right here and the 2 Faith collection cards. Now, if you don't have these stamp sets, you can always swap them out for something else. I will do this die cutting for you, so you'll get all the pieces, the die cuts, and you'll get some basic white to stamp on. All you have to do is place your $35 order and select me as your demonstrator when you're checking out. This first card will include these pieces here. This is a really simple but so cute card, and you will get a scrap piece of white for stamping because you're going to need that. We're going to take our card base, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4 1/4. Can you see that little score line right there? So that makes it easy to fold. You can fold that in half and press it with your bone folder, which I don't know where mine is right now. I know that I got it out. So instead of that, I'm going to use a tongue depressor right quick. I know that I have it. I'm just not sure where it's at. I had an in-person event on Saturday and I packed up and took most of my things with me, and I thought that I had replaced them, but I may not have gotten them all back in their places. And so that is our card base. Now we have a piece of white, and this is 5 by 3 3/4. This is not white. This is Daffodil Delight. Daffodil Delight, that is 5 by 3 3/4. That's going to be our next layer. And we have a piece of basic white that is 4 3/4 by 3.5. This is where we're going to start our stamping. First, we need our stamp set, and we're going to choose this word right here. The storm will end and the sun will shine again. The other options are, you are the umbrella to my rainy days, and be brave. So those are the sentiments that come with this stamp set. I am going to put this on block D. This is one of my favorite blocks. If you can only get one block, this is the one I would choose, D. I use it the most. It wouldn't fit really long sentiments and it wouldn't be perfect for really small ones. But it's a great size. I probably use this one and this one here, H, the most. D and H. Now they do come in lots of other sizes. When we ink up our stamp, we're going to lay it down and press just a little. We're not squishing it in there. We're just pressing a little, and then we're going to tap, tap, tap. And I always like to practice stamp on my paper just to make sure the image is going to come out the way I want it to. And then I'll lay down and press, and then tap, 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 and stamp. Something I've done lately is I always look at the back just to make sure that the words are kind of lining up with the edge. Sometimes they're a little bit off, and that will make your sentiment a little crooked when you stamp. So now when we stamp, we're going to lay our stamp down and press gently but firmly in the center, just like that. Hello, Janelle. Happy Sunday. Happy stamping. I'm glad you're here. Okay, that is all for our words. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to give that stamp a little scrub and put it right back where it belongs. And what we're going to do is we are going to load up our next stamps so that they're ready. We need this little kid with the raincoat. And I think that'll fit on our block D. And we need this, the little dog. Hi, Kim. I'm glad to see you. Glad you're tuning in. Do people say that anymore, tuning in? I still like it, so. Okay, our little dog I put on block B. It's kind of helpful if you put your stamp on a block that's just larger than it is. If you have choices for your blocks. Now, if all you have is a big block, then that's of course what you're going to use. But you do have to be a little more careful then, because it's really easy to rock that stamp and get ink on something you don't want it on. All right, so we have our little kid and our dog. We're just going to scoot this to the side. And here is our scrap paper. Let's see, I'm going to turn it this way. And we are going to, again, use, I don't think I told you this first time, but it's Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And we're using that because we're doing a little bit of coloring, and it seems to work good with that. Again, we are going to lay our stamp down on our ink and press, and then we're going to tap, tap, tap. This time we need a couple extra taps because our stamp is a little bigger than our ink pad. When we turn it over, we just want to make sure that all of the lines are nice and shiny. What you don't want, what you really want to watch out for, is if you press too hard, the ink will get over the edges And the more ink you have on your stamp, if there's a lot on there, your lines are going to be smudgy, for lack of a better word. I love that rain boot stamp. You can use that for sure. Okay, now when we stamp on we're stamping on basic white. So we're going to lay our stamp down and press in the center. That's what I found gives me the nicest images. Okay, so we're going to ink up our dog. We're going to lay it down, press, and tap, tap, tap. And you really don't want to tap in the same spot because then you'll pick up ink from different places. It's really easy to smudge when you're stamping. So we're going to stamp our dog right here. We're going to lay it down, press, and pick up. Now when I'm pressing, just so you know, I'm not smashing it in there. I'm just pressing with like a firm, steady pressure. Okay. Let's clean off our little stamps. And then we're going to color our images. Actually, before we do that, I did already clean off my little dog. But what I am going to do is I kind of want to stamp him on the envelope. So I'm going to stamp one more time. I'm going to lay it down, press, tap, 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 and stamp. Lay it down and press. Just like that. They do the rain boots, and yes, they're so cute, the little rain boots. And the dog even has a little raincoat you can put on him or her, I guess. It's very cute. It's a very cute set. And I think you're going to really like the next card too. It's very cute. Okay. Now, right quick, we are going to do our coloring. So I made my dog kind of a light color, but I might like to make him a little bit darker this time. So let's see. We have, I'm looking for, okay, let's see. I kind of want a brown, but not a dark brown. This one I think looks pretty dark. All right, let's just go with the same color that I used before because I can't decide. I'm having too hard a time. So I'm gonna color him in crumb cake. This is not the color of my dog, but that's fine. Okay, and I'm using the Stampin' Blends here. This is light crumb cake. So I'm just gonna color his little tummy and a little bit around his little face here. And then I'm going to use the darker crumb cake to color the rest of him. Now you can color yours any color that you want. Generally, I find that if I do longer strokes, I like my coloring better than if I do little short strokes. I like it to blend really well. All right, I'm going to leave the little tip of his tail white. And here's his feet. And then I'm going to open up the other end, and this is the dark one, and this is the pointy end. And I'm just going to add a little bit of colors here by his face. Kind of so he's a little spotty. And then I'm going to go along, just along the edges to add an extra layer of color, kind of to give him a little dimension. Now you can, when you're coloring with Stampin' Blends, you can layer your colors and it works pretty nicely. They blend well, just like their name, blends. I do try when I'm coloring not to go over the black stamping too much. The color doesn't, it's not supposed to bleed together. But I've found that if you go over it too many times, it does start to look a little fuzzy, and I like it to be kind of sharp. So I try to stay off those black lines if I can. And it does, the tips do spread out a little, so the color's going to travel just a little bit if you're inside those lines. Okay, again, we're going to turn it around to the other end and add a little to his face. And then along those lines. A little extra here on his tail. Okay. For our umbrella, I use Daffodil Delight, and I'm coloring with the light one first. So again, I'm going to try not to color on the black lines, but to kind of stay in between them where I can. I just feel like sometimes those lines will get a little fuzzy, and I'm not a huge fan of fuzzy lines. Fuzzy blankets, yes. Fuzzy lines, not so much. Fuzzy animals, those are okay. Not fuzzy lines. Okay, so there is our umbrella with our light Daffodil Delight, and then we can take the dark one and we can just draw along those lines, because that gives it a little more shape there. Okay. So there is that. And let's color the little boots red. This is, oh, I'm looking, that's not the one I'm looking for. Cherry, I like cherry cobbler. That's my favorite red. Janelle, it was so much fun. The kid event was so much fun. You are going to have to come sometime. We had a lot of snacks, of course. You know I like snacks. And we had so much fun. There was someone brought a Cricut. We made a little Cricut project together. I had lots of kits available. So if people didn't have their own projects, they could get a kit to work on. I had someone come and bring paints, and she painted while she was there. So there was a lot of different projects going, and they were all really good. This is the light boho blue, and I'm going to use this to color the pants. And this time I'm using that small end. It looks like I used a darker color before, but I like this color too. I think I might have used Night of Navy on that first one. All right, and then we can color the little coat. And I am going to color that in Mossy Meadow. So I'm starting with the light Mossy Meadow. And my Mossy Meadow is starting to get a little worn out. You want to be, when you're using these blends, really careful. I don't know if you can see that tip or not. Here, maybe if I hold that white behind it. But see how it's starting to fray a little bit at the end there? Well, you can see it kind of there. It turns a little. They do wear out, and especially if you press at all. So you want to use as light a touch as you possibly can with these Stampin' blends. Okay. I think this is part of the coat too. Yep, I colored it the last time. Okay, and then for the hands, sometimes I'll use ivory and bronze, but I found this time that the petal pink, the light petal pink, worked perfect for some little hands. Okay, just like that. Now we are going to cut him out, him or her, I suppose. All right, let's put our pieces over here so we have a little extra space. And in our dies, okay, now these come separate. They don't come like this. I put mine together like this. So I buy magnetic sheets and take all of these dies out of their envelope and stick them in here on the side with the stamps so that I keep everything together. So we're going to need this little kid outline and this dog and our die cutting machine. Now you can use Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which is Stampin' Up's new machine, or I still have a Big Shot from I feel like eons ago, but I bought it from Stampin' Up a long time ago. And it still works. So I am constantly putting it to use and to the test. Okay, and we're going to line up our die right around our image. Now, sometimes the dies will have little dots, and you can see kind of where your image has to go. And what I like to do is take my plate and place it directly over my image and then lay it flat down on top of it so that hopefully it doesn't move around. Now, if you have too much trouble with it moving around, you can get some removable tape and tape your die onto your image so that you get nice, perfect lines. Okay, and see how cute that cuts that little guy out? I'm calling it a little guy. And now we're going to cut out the little dog. So we're going to shove it back to the other side. Put our paper back in. Put our die back away because we don't want to lose it. And we're going to cut out our little dog. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I think the next one is the first Saturday in May, but I can't remember right now what the date is. I've been trying to get into a rhythm, so like card class is on the third Thursday and Kit Together days are on the first Saturday. But summer is coming, and every once in a while things get a little out of sorts. So not 100% sure when that next day is. Okay. So here is our sample card. I don't suppose we really need this right now. And here are our pieces. We stamped our envelope, right? So that's cute. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. So we're going to take our stamp piece of basic white. I do actually need this, so I'm bringing it back. And we're going to put our little guy and his dog where we want them to go. Now, what we're going to do is scoot them up a little bit, like maybe ½ an inch. And we're going to grab our balmy blue ink. And what I want you to do is squeeze it together in the middle. And you can feel it move. You're not going to squeeze it so hard that it breaks. You're going to squeeze it together in the middle. Now you're going to open it up. Let's see. And check. And I did not squeeze it hard enough. See? You can't see any ink on there. So we got to re-squeeze. You can really squeeze these without breaking them, unless your hands are much stronger than mine. Okay, this is what we want. See that little smudgy of blue? And then this is a Stampin' Spritzer, and all it has in it is water. So we're just going to give that a little squirt onto our ink and see how it kind of, here, I'll hold it up close. See how it just kind of spreads it out a little? Now, what we're going to do is take this, which is a blender pen, and I try to keep one end for light colored projects and one end for dark. It looks like I probably need to order some new of these. They come in a 3-pack, but they're really great. And we're just going to swirl it around here in our ink. And first, because I made a couple mistakes, we're going to test it. So I have a little scrap here, a little scrap paper of white, and we're just going to smudge it on there. And that's what we want. Now, for my people who came to in-person class, I could not remember how I did this during class. This is how I did it. So Georgette, if you are watching, Georgette and Teresa, this is what I did, not what we tried. We tried to figure it out during class, and it was, it didn't work. So this is what we're doing. We're going to swirl this around in here. Now, where their feet are, underneath that is where we're going to make a little ground for them to stand on, kind of a little puddle. Okay, and we're just using our blender pen and our balmy blue ink. Okay. We don't want it to be perfect. We kind of want to smudge it around because puddles aren't perfect, right? Oh, you ordered new blender pens. Yeah, you do have to do that sometimes. They do dry up after a while. I feel like I've had this one for a really long time, so it's definitely time for a new one. Now, the other thing, I'm not sure what kind of liquid is in here, but I tend to use them with water. So if you do have trouble with them and you just spritz your ink like this, that probably will give you a little bit longer life on your blender pens. That does work with Wink of Stella too, but you can also, with Wink of Stella, you can use rubbing alcohol and add a little bit inside your Wink of Stella, and that kind of refreshes it too. Okay, there is our balmy blue. So we're going to put these little guys off to the side. And let's see. It feels like that dried up pretty quick. So we're going to turn it over, and now we're going to add our ink. Not our ink, our glue. And I am using liquid glue. You know that's my favorite. We're going to do a thin line around the edge, not too close to the edge. Around this side, we're going to leave a little space to put our finger so our finger doesn't get sticky. And then we're going to do a squiggle down the middle. Okay, now we can grab that paper right where we left our finger mark, line it up in the center of the Daffodil Delight, and press it down just like that. And we can turn that over and get some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to have to cut a few more from the edges here. Because we're not going to waste them. Alright. And then we're going to place them around on the back side. So we've got one in each corner. Well, that one tried to stick to my finger. Just like that, and then one in the middle. Okay, we can peel the little backs off. I forgot that one already peeled off because it tried to stick to me. Oh, we use them with the colored pencils. Yeah, they work good with those too. Now, if you haven't seen, they are, for a little while, discontinuing the water painters. So if you don't have water painters, they're looking for a new supplier, they said. And you like ours, I think they come in a 3-pack. They're really nice. I use this big one a lot for splashing little speckles of color everywhere. Now we're going to add our little guy and his dog. And we're just going to sit them right on that puddle. Okay. So there's one. And here's this little dog. We'll just stick them right there. And there is our first card. Now, of course, you could add Wink of Stella to this. You probably have noticed I love to Wink of Stella everything. And it would be really cute. But look how cute that little guy is on the envelope. He really is cute. That's our first card for tonight. And I'm excited to show you the second one too. All right, so, oh, that's the piece I colored on. I need to get that out of the way so I don't mistake it for something else. All right, now, I was looking for a place to put these. My space is a little messy tonight. Okay, here is our second card. And what I really want to show you is how we do this part right here. But that's a little closer to the end, okay? So when you get your kit, if you were to place an order and get a kit, this is how it would come. Okay, you would have, oh, I forgot something that should be in there. Hold on, my friends. Okay, so you would get your card base, and if you have a card base that is not white, I'm going to give you a white for the inside. Okay, that's for the inside. You got your little pieces that are already cut. All these little pieces. Your little circle that's going to go on Her little boots are cut out for you. And then, this is really cool. These are the pieces that go in the envelope. So the Umbrella Days dies will cut these little pieces for the umbrella. And what I did, and what I'm going to show you, is you can add to any paper. You can add it to any paper. I knew I put it somewhere. It was on the other side of me. These adhesive sheets, okay? So this adhesive sheet turns your paper into a sticker. All right? And then once you turn it into a sticker, you can run it through your die cutting machine. And all of those little pieces are individual stickers. So you don't have to add glue to each one of those. They become a sticker. I'll show you that in just a minute. So first, we're going to do our stamping. So we need this white piece here. And let's take the one for the inside. We're going to stamp a little something on that and our envelope. Okay, so we have 3 things to stamp. We're going to do all that at the same time. Okay, this time we need a little bigger block because we are going to use this taller lady. I'm saying it's a lady. It could be a man with a braid, I suppose. I'm just calling her a lady. So we're going to stamp her. Going to put my little dog back and my little guy back. I can tell you that I use the term guys a lot. Sometimes for people who aren't guys. Just like people. That's what I mean when I say guys. And we're going to take our block H and we're going to put our raindrops on because we're going to need quite a few raindrops. And we're going to use our smallest, tiniest block for the Be Brave. Okay, and this little teeny block is block A. So there's blocks A through, I think I. It's either H or I. And they're all a little different sizes. All right, now on here, we are going to stamp our lady first in black memento. And now remember, she is bigger than our ink pad. So we're going to have to press a couple times. We're going to have to press, 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 and then we're going to tap. And we're trying to tap all over so that when we turn that stamp over, it's shiny. See how there's a little shine on all those lines? That's what we want. Okay, and we're going to stamp here kind of towards the left a little bit. Right there. And we're going to press in the center and lift, and there she is. Okay, and that's all we're stamping in black, so we're going to cover that black up right away and get it out of the way. Because who knows when you might put your elbow or your knuckle in the ink. And that, nobody wants that, I'm telling you. Nobody wants that. Okay, we need Pool Party ink next. And this is what we're going to use for our raindrops. Okay. We really only need the bottom part of our raindrops because we're stamping them around her. So we're going to press, tap, tap, tap. And we're going to try to make them going straight down, but you could make your raindrops going crooked. if you wanted to. It just depends if your rain is slanting or coming straight down. Sometimes rain goes whichever way it wants to. Sideways, upways, downways, all the ways. Okay. Now we have our raindrops. Oh, let's stamp some little raindrops on the inside too. Okay, so here is our inside paper. And I'm just going to make them go down this left side. Just like that. So it's just raining down the side of my paper. I think I like that. And while we have it out, let's put a few on our envelope too. And I'm going to have them go down this left side here. Just like that. I did smudge those a little bit, but they're on the envelope, so I can always put a little wig of Stella on them and pretend they were meant to be that way. Ooh! I must be getting a little crazy. Okay. Smoky Slate is our next stamping. So we got that opened up. We're going to clean off our raindrops. Just because evidently I'm getting a little dangerous with my ink now. And we need this little circle here. This is from the Stylish Shapes dies. If you don't have the Stylish Shapes or something similar, you may want to get it because I find that I use it all the time. I have a whole little bin up here of different size basic white Stylish Shapes. They really come in handy. Okay, so we're gonna tap, we're gonna press, tap, tap, tap. Okay, and I'm gonna practice stamp just one time. Press, tap, tap, tap. And then we're gonna stamp right in the center. We're gonna lay our stamp down, press in the center, just like that. And next we need a little sponge dauber. And so I have some right here in this bin. I think I have one already that's Smoky Slate, but it may be upstairs in my other bin of things. Let's see. This one looks like a gray, so we will try and use that. Hopefully it's not too dark. And then what we're going to do with our sponge dauber is just dip it in our ink pad a little bit, and then we're just gently rubbing it along that edge to add a little color to it. It just helps it stand out from the rest a little bit. And you can do this with any of the pieces you want. I feel like on a lighter color it helps it stand out, and on a darker color it kind of helps it blend in. So sometimes you can use it to make things look a little more antique or distressed, but sometimes it just helps them blend in a little. All right, now we need to color our lady. We've almost got all our pieces. This is for the inside. That's for the front. And let's color our lady. Now I used bronze for her hair. which is just it's a really nice brown. Now the bronze and ivory come in a pack together. So they are nice colors. And then let's use that light Night of Navy for her pants. Oh yeah, I think that's the color I must have used before. Okay. And then her coat I colored with Pool Party so that it would kind of match our background a little bit. And this is the light Pool Party. I usually start with a light color blend and then add darker colors if I want to layer them or if I want a little different look. Okay, so there is the light, and then we're going to grab that darker one and just add a little definition around all the lines, okay? So we'll do up here, around that shoulder, a little bit by her pocket. And I'm trying not to color right on the line, but slightly next to it. Just so that line won't spread out too much. Okay, now we are getting to the fun part. Okay, not that the whole thing isn't fun. It's fun. I love the whole process of making the card, but there are some parts I love more than others, and I really like it when I get to show you something cool. Okay, so we're going to make the next part, and then we're going to put all this together. What we're going to do is make those sticker pieces that will go on the umbrella. Okay, we've got to scoot this over to the side here. Once we have all our parts, then we can put it together. We've done all our stamping. We have all our pieces almost ready. Now, I'm going to use a piece of this. And this is from the Floral and Gingham Vellum. This vellum is so, so pretty. It's beautiful. This piece is, let's see, 2 1/4 by 4 1/2. So what we're going to do is take our piece of adhesive sheets and we're going to cut a piece that's about that size, 2 1/4 by 4 1/2. So it can be a little smaller than that. So that way we won't have to worry about it sticking. So there's just less than 2 1/4 by, let's see, I said 4 1/2. Let's do 4 3/8, just to make it a wee bit smaller. Okay, now I just want to show you there is kind of a trick to this, because if you just pull this off, sometimes the sticky part will come with it, and you don't want that. So we're gonna turn our vellum over. Can you see that okay? Or maybe I should put it on this thing. Okay, that's probably better, huh? Now, when we're peeling this, there are little breaks that are already cut into the back of the adhesive sheet. Can you see that little break right there? So what you want to do is when you peel it, let's see. I'm trying to see if you can see exactly where it's coming. Okay. Can you see that at all? When you peel it, see how that little bit right there is sticking? You want to fold it back as much as possible so that that sticky stuff, oh, this one's kind of being a pain in the neck, so that that sticky stuff stays on there. Okay, see, a little bit of it came off. You can kind of see it a little bit right there. See it at the top? But once you peel off one side, you can lay that down on the edge. Now, obviously, where it peeled off, it's not going to be as sticky. But you're going to have enough sticky on there that you can still do what you want to do. Okay? And then we're going to fold it back and peel that next part off. And like I said, as much as you can, you want to really bend it so that that sticky stuff will stay where it's supposed to stay on that sheet. Okay. Then we can fold that next part down, stick it up, and we can fold that last part over and peel the backing off. I'm pretty sure I'm having trouble with this tonight because I'm trying to show it to you. Okay, peel that back part off. And then we can just stick it down just like that. Okay, so now this is basically a sticker. See how it's a little darker than it was before? We can take that and we're going to run it through our die cutting machine. And we are going to use, inside this die is this piece right here. That's going to cut out our little individual umbrella pieces. All of a sudden I couldn't think. So we're going to put it on this side. And you can kind of place it wherever you want based on what you want your umbrella to look like. I absolutely love this bright yellow flower, so I'm going to try to get that as much as I can in my umbrella. Okay. And then just like before, I'm going to lay down my top sheet, my top plate, it's called a plate, and run it through. Now, when it comes out the other side, sometimes the pieces stick in there, okay? So this is what we have. And then we can just poke these little guys out. Just like that. Now, like I said, if you place an order and you get a kit, a card kit, anytime you order and get a kit, I will have those kind of things already cut out for you. And Kim, I do have kits for you. I just have to get them to you. I feel like it's been kind of a whirlwind. I hope you're healing well. I know you've got stuff going on. At least hopefully you can do some crafting while you're recovering. Okay, here's our card. Where did I put? I'm losing everything. And here are all our pieces. Okay. I'm just going to set them to the side and we're going to get this put together. So our card base this time is, you're doing very well. Good. That's good. That means the prayers are working, right? That's good to hear. This is 4 1/4 by 11 and it's scored at 5 1/2. So we're just going to take it and fold on that score line that's in half. And I'm going to use this tongue depressor again because I still don't know where my bone folder is. I have 3 bone folders. I cannot find any of them yet. All right, and on the inside, we are going to put our piece with our little raindrops. So we're going to use our liquid glue, or you can use Stampin' Seal or Seal Plus, or whatever adhesive you prefer, whatever you like the best. I was going to say Fast Fuse, but I don't think they have that yet. They are working for me. I am I'll be very honest with you. I'm not nearly as scared as I normally would be. I tend to be very anxious about hospital stays or visits or surgeries, and I am feeling very at peace with this. That's unusual for me, and so I know that those prayers are working. Okay, we are going to attach our, now this is from the Floral and Gingham Vellum. This is the gingham one. It's so pretty. So we're going to turn that over, and oh, I was looking for my mini glue dots. I couldn't find them at first. But guess what? They were right where they were supposed to be. Now, I want to show you a little trick about glue dots if you don't already know. This is my favorite way to use them. I have seen people pluck them off of here with like little tweezers or a little pokey tool or a spatula, your scissors, whatever. My favorite way is just to tear one off and press it against the table and then peel off the back. So I know that it may seem like a lot of work because you're ending up with all kinds of little bitty papers, right? But it's by far, I think, the easiest way to get those little glue dots to go where they're supposed to go. Whoops. Okay. And I did not measure this, but all the measurements for these are in my tutorial that I sent out this week. So if you're on my email list, you already got that. If you are not on my email list, then sign up and I will send it to you. And you can sign up for that. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be a link in the description where you can sign up for that. If you're watching on Facebook, then on my page, there's a blue button kind of near the top. And you can click on that and subscribe to my email list. Now, for the thread on this one, I used this gray thread, gray baker's twine. And this is from the Baker's Twine Essentials Pack. Now, it comes with 5 colors. I've already used all of the white in this roll. But they're all great colors. It comes with black, white, vanilla, gray, and like a crumb cake color. So it's kind of similar to the linen thread, but it's a little bit thicker. Okay, and what we are going to do is we're going to have a little tail here, and we're going to wrap it around twice. So 1, 2, and here we're going to tie a little bow. Now, I always make a knot first, and when I'm tying my bow, I will tell you that I try as much as possible to leave it loose until the very end and to tighten it kind of slowly, because otherwise I feel like it squirrels up, like it squirrels and quarrels, and I don't like that. So see how I'm kind of tying it really slowly? I feel like that helps. And then I can kind of move it around and make those little tails go whichever way I want them to go instead of whichever way they feel like going. Okay. We can trim that off. I just noticed I almost trimmed the wrong part. Don't do that. Okay. And now this one, usually when I have ones with a thread on it, I will pop it up. This one I did not. So we're going to glue it down flat. Most of the time I do pop these up. But because I wanted to pop the next part up, and I might want to send this one in the mail, I didn't want to make it too thick. All right, there's my liquid glue. Now, see, I'm going to show you again. See how much liquid glue is on there? Not a lot. There's skinny little squiggly lines. That's all you need. We're going to put it right there and glue it down. That liquid glue does take a second to dry, so sometimes you gotta wait just a minute before you move on, especially with that thread in there, kind of pushing it up. Now, okay, our envelope is that's all ready. We don't need that. Here is our piece of smoky slate, and this is our basic white with our little lady on it. So we're gonna turn her over and a thin line of glue around the edge. We're going to leave a little squiggle for our finger and then a squiggle down the middle. I'll show you again. This is really important. This little bits of glue is really important, okay? If you get too much, it's going to ooze out and stick everywhere. If you don't have enough, then it's not going to stick together. But I can tell you it's rare to err on the side of not enough. The glue everywhere error is far more popular, by far. Okay, now our little stickers. Now I did want to show you, they are really tiny, okay? And sometimes people have trouble peeling that off. This one is peeling like a rock star. It's not even having any trouble at all. Hold on, I'll see if there's one that gives me trouble, and then I can show you how to manage it without it ending up in the punishment box. Okay, there's the first one. Now, if you do have trouble with one, get yourself a little straight pin, okay? And you can poke carefully, of course, in that edge, and that'll peel right up. See that? You don't want to poke hard, and you have to poke at a little bit of an angle. But you can get it a lot easier with that little straight pin. I keep one right by me, just in case. Okay. So we're going to put each piece of that umbrella on. This one and these ones are actually coming apart really easy. Okay, we're just putting our little umbrella together. It's so cute. Isn't that flower so cute on there? All right, and then these little rainbows we are going to put on her. Okay, now they're tiny, so we need to take our dimensionals and cut them down so they'll fit. So we're just going to cut really skinny little slices of dimensional. Okay. And then same thing with these. If you have trouble picking up those little pieces, you can just stab them with a little pin. See that? It's bent because I used it as a tool. Okay. This is what I do with stuff. It might be why my stuff doesn't last as long as it should. Because I'm constantly using it for things it's not technically meant for. But it works. And you probably have more than one pin laying around. You could use a safety pin. You can use a sewing pin, whatever kind of pin you have. Okay, and we're just going to put our little dimensionals on those boots. Now I'm going to put my pin away so I don't accidentally lose it. I just have a little bag over to the side that I stab it in while it's waiting to do its job. All right, we've got those. We're going to need those again. I might as well not put them away. Okay, we're going to peel the little backs off of our boots. We could actually use our pin for that too, if we needed to. So far, I haven't needed that today. Now, we're just going to line those up, stick them on, and then, oh, of course, we are going to color our little rain boots with Wink of Stella. Because they're going to be wet, they should be shiny, right? Shiny, wet little rain boots. Now, you could color your umbrella too, if you wanted. And even so, oh, let's color a few of our raindrops. We don't have to color them all. Just a few. Now, if you didn't know, Wink of Stella is, you can kind of use it like a water painter. So it will spread around those colors a little bit if you put more than a little bit on there. All right, now we're going to turn this over and add some dimensionals to the back. I hope you like this card. I really love it. I thought it was so pretty when I put it together. And I really like rain. I like rain and rain cards. It just kind of reminds me of fresh starts and new beginnings and springtime and new growth. I know sometimes storms can be a little frustrating, right? Especially if they cause damage or you lose power, but I love a nice rainstorm. Okay, here we go. We are going to put that down, and then we have our sentiment that we colored. We're going to put a dimensional on that. Actually, let's put on 2 just because. Just because we like our pop-ups to be extra poppy. Here we go. And we're going to put that right here. So there is our second card for tonight. Remember, if you want to get this class, it'll be 4 cards. All the pieces will be cut for you, except for, of course, what you would have to stamp and then die cut on your own. You can always substitute with something else if you want to. And I'll be seeing you again soon. Until then, happy stamping. I'm so glad you're here with me tonight.